Assalamualaikum and very good morning to Dr. Siti Manisa and our team members. Today we are going to present about the company's compliance and disclosure. My name is Nur Sharoni Fazafira and my matrix number is 203535.
My name is Nur Siti Haja binti Kamal Zaman. My matrix number is 204280.
My name is Nur Afina. My matric number is 201867.
So today we are going to talk about the report. The objective of this report is to study and apply knowledge on the disclosure requirements based on the selected standards. We need to analyze the disclosure associated with the MFRS made by the selected companies in their annual report. In this report, we need to assess our analytical and critical thinking skills as an accounting student in evaluating companies' compliance. In order to prepare this report, we need to choose 2 companies listed in Bursa Malaysia, and each company must be from different sectors. We also required to choose 1 standard to apply to the companies. Therefore, as we decided, the first company that we choose is Nestle Malaysia Berhad from the consumer product sectors, and the second one is IOI Corporation Berhad from the plantation sector. The standard that we choose to apply to the companies is MFRS 116 Property, Plant and Equipment. Generally, property, plant and equipment are physical items that will be used in the production or supply of goods or services for rental to the third parties or to be used as an administration and supposed to have a period of more than 1 year, as defined in MFRS 116. Objective of MFRS 116 Property, Plant and Equipment is to prepare the accounting treatment for PPE to help users of financial statements to recognize the information of the property that was made by the organization in its PPE and the changes in such property. The principal issues in the accounting policy of PPE are to recognize the assets, decide their carrying amount, and the depreciation charges and impairment losses to be recognized to them. The recognition of property, plant and equipment as an asset shall be made if it is probable that economic benefits and profits from future activities related to the item will flow to the entity and the cost of the item is reliable to be measured. However, this standard is inapplicable to the PPE that classified as held for sale in MFRS 5, biological assets that related to agricultural activity MFRS 141, exploration and evaluation assets in MFRS 6, and mineral rights and mineral reserves such as oil and natural gas. As I said just now, the companies that we choose is Nestle Malaysia Berhad. Nestle Malaysia Berhad has been nourished Malaysia since 1912 by providing the quality products to Malaysians. They also preserving its integrity and halal excellence. Nestle Malaysia Berhad got listed in the main market of Bursa Malaysia on December 13, 1989. The company's headquarters is located at Mutiara Damansara, Petaling Jaya, Selangor. The manufacturing facilities located at Shah Alam and Petaling Jaya in Selangor, Chembong Negeri Sembilan, and Kuching, Sarawak. Nestle is categorized as consumer product sectors as it is producing healthier foods and beverages to encourage customers to live a healthy lifestyle. Cereals, powdered milks, and drinks, and baby foods are some of the products of Nestle that give good nutrition to the consumers, and it have been enjoying for generations. The second company that we choose is IOI Corporation Berhad, also known as IOI. IOI Corporation Berhad is dominating the global integration and sustainable palm oil player. The company head office is located at Wilayah Persekutuan Putrajaya. IOI Corporation got listed in the main market of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad, including its operation consisting of plantation business. However, the companies operates in 5 sectors, which are plantation, property development, property investment, resource-based manufacturing, and other operations. But in this report, we are concentrating in the plantation sectors that include oil palm cultivations and palm oil processing. IOI Corporation have 96 oil palm estates involving Malaysia and Indonesia. Generally, this company have oil palm plantations in East Malaysia is 64%, Peninsular Malaysia 25%, and the left 11% is in Indonesia. Let's look at the compliance and disclosure made by the companies, which is Nestle and IOI, based on MFRS 116 property, plant and equipment. Recognition and the measurement of the recognitions. As stated in paragraph 7 of MFRS 116, the recognition of item of property, plant and equipment should be made if it is probable that future economic benefits related to the item will flow to the entity and its cost can be measured assuredly. Thus, an item of PPE qualifying as an asset for recognition need to be initially recorded at cost. As stated in paragraph 30, MFRS 116, which is after recognize the item of property, plant and equipment, the asset has to be recorded at the amount of its cost after reducing any accumulated incurred in depreciation and impairment loss. Nestle Malaysia Berhad has met the recognition criteria as mentioned earlier, as in the balance sheet has stated the amount of an item of property, plant and equipment at carrying amount RM 1,277,161. While IOI Corporation Berhad also has recorded the amount of property, plant and equipment aligned with the requirement of MFRS 116, which is the total issuance at the carrying amount is 8,458 and 80 cents. As we know, the carrying amount is the value of the asset, which is recognized after deducting accumulated occurs in depreciation and impairment losses. The depreciation, as described in paragraph 43 of MFRS 116. If item of property, plant and equipment contains two or more components with a cost that is significant to the total cost, then each component should be depreciated separately. According to paragraph 44 of MFRS 116, property, plant and equipment, the company should allocate and recognize the amount of all the assets initially in respect of the property, plant and equipment to their importance components and depreciate them separately for each such component. As stated in Note 3 of the financial statements for Nestle Malaysia Berhad and Note 15 of the financial statements for IOI Corporation Berhad, both companies have disclosed the depreciation amount for every item of property, plant and equipment separately. It proves that both companies depreciated their assets separately as related to the disclosure of the standards that we mentioned earlier. Therefore, we can see that the depreciation is disclosed properly based on MFRS 116, property, plant and equipment. Let's continue the presentations by our team members. Thank you.
Next, I will express about depreciable amount and depreciation period. As stated in paragraph 50 of MFRS 116, all amounts of the asset that can be depreciated should be allocated on a systematic basis over its useful life. Other than that, in paragraph 51 of MFRS 116 also mentioned that the entity should review at least at each financial year ends of the residual value and the useful life of an asset. But if the expectations differ from previous estimate, the change should be accounted for as a change in an accounting estimate embodied with MFRS 108, which is accounting policy change in accounting estimations and error. For both Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad has estimate useful life of all its property, plant and equipment, including building, plant and machinery, tool, furniture and equipment, motor vehicle and information system for Nestle Malaysia Berhad. While IOI Corporation Berhad, such as leasehold land, building and improvement, plant and machine and other property, plant and equipment. The estimate useful life for property, plant and equipment of Nestle Malaysia Berhad PPE have building, plant, machinery, tool, furniture and equipment, motor vehicle information system, and it shows the estimate useful life for their PPE. while IOI Corporation Berhad has shown their principal depreciation period and annual rates of IOI Corporation Berhad. The PPE of IOI Corporation Berhad, such as long-term leasehold land, building and improvement, plant and machine, other property, plant and equipment. Okay, next I will explain about disclosure. In paragraph 7.3 of MFRS 116, the financial statements for both companies should disclose for each class of property, plant and equipment. First, the depreciation method used by the companies. Nestle and IOI Corporation Berhad has disclosed about the depreciation method used in the company, which is straight line method. Second, the useful life or depreciation rate used. Nestle Malaysia Berhad has stated the useful life for each component in property, plant and equipment, while IOI Corporation Berhad has shown their depreciation period and annual rate for each item in property, plant and equipment. Next is about reconciliations of the carrying amount that show at the beginning and end of the accounting period. First, about additional. Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad has record addition in their financial statement. Second, the asset in the company classified as held for sale or included in a disposal group classified as held for sale in line with MFRS 5 and other disposal. Nestle Malaysia Berhad classified their asset as held for sale as the group was in agreement with the disposal of Petaling Jaya factory by 1 July 2019. The assets that have been classified as held for sale are leasehold land and at RM14,611,000 and property, plant and equipment at RM57,834 ringgit. The total books asset is disposed is RM72,450 ringgit. Third, acquisition through business combination. For both companies, which is Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad, did not disclose any acquisitions of their assets through business combination. As stated in paragraph 74, the company should also disclose those items in the financial statement in order to comply with the standards of MFRS 116. First, the company shall have disclosed the existence and amounts of restrictions on title and property, plant and equipment pledged as security for liabilities. But both companies did not report all the information related to the MFRS 116 paragraph 74A. Second, the company should recognize the amounts of expenditure in the carrying amounts of the asset in the cost of its construction. And also, the company did not comply with the paragraph 74B. And the last one, the company also should have stated the amounts of the contractual commitment for the acquisitions of property, plant and equipment. For this paragraph, only Nestle Malaysia Berhad has disclosed the amounts of construction commitment that is incurred during the period, which is RM2,298,000 according to notes to the financial statement 25. Okay, let's proceed the presentation by Nur Afina.
So I'm going to proceed with the comment on their compliance with the disclosure requirement. As Fira said earlier, Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad had complied with the requirement of the standard, which is the recognition and the measurement after the recognition of the asset. Based on paragraph 7A and 7B, both companies had recognized their PPE as an asset because it is expected to provide future economic inflow into the organization, and the cost of the item also can be measured reliably. Therefore, every item of PPE that qualifies for recognition as an asset must be measured at its cost. Next, in accordance with paragraph 30, both of the companies have used the cost model as their accounting policy, in which the cost of PPE is carried after deducting accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment loss. Since they did not apply the revaluation model, the companies may be at a disadvantage because uncertainty, economic condition, and slowing in economic growth, the profit of some entity might be shrink. But through some fixed asset revaluation, entity has a chance to increase fixed asset value so that entity can improve their leverage. After that, according to paragraph 44 and 45, which mention about the depreciation, Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad had complied to this criteria since that they evaluate the depreciation amount for each asset separately as they stated in their notes to the financial statement. Thus, the way for both companies used to calculate the depreciation is the most effective way to get an accurate amount of depreciation for every asset. This shows that both companies have depreciated their assets properly. Next, moving on to the paragraph 50 and 51, which is the depreciable amount and depreciation period. Both companies have complied with the requirements stated in these two paragraphs since they had disclosed the estimated useful life for each asset in their notes to the financial statement. In addition, this estimation is crucial in calculating the amount of depreciation, but it is also in line with the disclosure requirements stipulated by MFRS 116 for the purpose of determining the depreciation for each item of property, plant, and equipment. Next, comment on both companies' disclosure. According to paragraph 73B, Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad had conformed on this criteria as they have reported the depreciation method used in their annual report according to the requirement of the standard. Therefore, both companies use straight line method, which is the simplest and most widespread form of depreciation used by businesses, as the straight line method is straightforward, uncomplicated, and easy to apply. Meanwhile, for paragraph 73C, both of the companies have shown the estimated useful life and annual rates in the notes to the financial statement. As for Nestle Malaysia Berhad, as stated, the useful life for every asset. Meanwhile, IOI Corporation Berhad has indicated the depreciation period and annual rates each of the property, plant, and equipment. After that, proceed to the paragraph 73E1. In annual report for Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad have stated an addition to the total in their assets. As we know, entity might add new fixed asset into the operating as the result of operational expansion, replace the old assets after written off or disposal, or introduce the new version of assets for operational efficiency. Next, for paragraph 73E2, Nestle has asserted the information related to the disclosure of asset were classified as held for sale in notes 12. Therefore, no depreciation is charged on them. But for IOI Corporation Berhad, they did not disclose any assets as held for sale nor include in a disposal group classified as held for sale. Next, moving on to paragraph 73E3, according to the financial statement and notes to the financial statement, both companies did not comply with the acquisition through business combination, even though there are many benefits from it. For instance, it can grow the company to the international level. As for paragraph 73.5, both companies have not complied to the disclosure since they do not have any impairment loss recognized in the statement as referred to MFRS 136. After that, for paragraph 73E6, both companies also did not comply with the criteria mentioned in this paragraph as they did not disclose any of the reversal of impairment loss in income statement as stated in MFRS 136. Lastly, for paragraph 73E7, Nestle Malaysia Berhad and IOI Corporation Berhad have included a disclosure in their financial statement on the depreciation method, which require the company to disclose the amount of depreciation incurred for each PPE as well as the method used for calculating depreciation for every PPE. Next, proceed to the paragraph 74, that entity need to disclose those items in order to comply with the requirement of MFRS 116 property, plant, and equipment. Firstly, for paragraph 74A, both companies did not meet the criteria as they do not disclose any of the existence and amount of restriction on title and property, plant, and equipment pledged as security for liabilities in their financial statement. Therefore, it must be a disadvantage for both companies since they do not disclose any existence and value of restriction on the title, since some obligation can be protected by the restriction on the title. As for paragraph 74B, the companies also did not comply with this paragraph since both companies have not recognized any amount of expenditure in the carrying amount of the asset in their annual report. Last but not least, based on paragraph 74C, only Nestlé Malaysia Berhad comply on this requirement, which is they stated all the information related to the contractual commitments in the annual report. Meanwhile, IOI Corporation Berhad did not represent any information about the contractual commitment. Next. As for conclusion, the disclosure requirements are important for the companies since it helps to assure that all the information referring to the PPE of the organization are accurately reported to the users of financial information. Therefore, we need to study the related MFRS carefully to prevent some difficulties in evaluating and commenting on the company's compliance and disclosure requirements stated in relevant MFRS. As a result of this report, we enhance understanding of the disclosure requirements as provided by the standard, which is MFRS 116, Property, Plant and Equipment. That's all from us. Thank you.